Welcome guys, Casual here from Casual GGs, and today finally we're gonna look at the Endless Archive, and the current PTS state is what we're gonna get at the launch of the Endless Archive towards end of the month, which is just a week away. So one thing about the walkthrough today guys, I'm not gonna show a lot of the fighting, I'm not gonna show a lot of the boss mechanic and so forth. The thing is, this thing hasn't been launched and I don't want to spoil it. There are just something about discovering it first time, and that's just nice, and I don't want to take that moment away from you guys. So I'll try as much as possible not to show spoilers. So let's look at the first tips guys. The first thing you guys are gonna be interested to know is, where is the Endless Archive? This is the icon for the Endless Archive, and it will show up in Apocrypha. That's where the Endless Archive is located. You guys can take the closest waypoint to it. So when you guys reach that location, all you're gonna see is this pillar and nowhere else, which indicates there's an entrance to the Endless Archive. The only thing you can see is on top there's a big black cloud, but then again the entrance is not visible. Me being me, I was taking a stroll there for quite some time, then I decided to take a dive on the cliff, fall down, and guess what guys, it's right there. So there's a cave on the left which was the entrance to the Endless Archive. Lucky me. So the right way to get to the Endless Archive cave is just to ride following this path, take a right, and then go down. There'll be two mobs there. Always take a left and you guys will see the cave, which is the entrance to the Endless Archive. You guys can port to the Endless Archive directly, but no fun than finding out where it's located physically, right? So when you guys port in, you'll come to like a lobby area for the Endless Archive. That's what I call it. The official name is the Endless Archive Index Chamber. So there's a few things you guys will find in the Index Chamber. There is the hourglass, which will reset the state of the whole Endless Archive. You want to do this if you want to reset everything to 0 and start all over again. Point noted, when you guys activate this, it will kick you out with your group, and then you will have to re-enter the Endless Archive. Other than that, in the Index Center, there is also this panel where you can reset your whole progress and then get a summary of how you did. So this will lock you out from further entering the index until you reset the state of the whole instance by going to the hourglass, which I showed you guys earlier. So this stat will kind of show how you guys did, what you performed, how far you went, and so forth. Other than that, there is this dude who's hanging around always in the Index Center, and he is actually the quest giver. I noticed that this quest is repeatable, so I'm guessing during the launch this becomes a daily activity you can go and do in the Endless Archive. And then if you guys take a stroll, there is two merchants which are also in the Index Chamber. So as you guys play along and complete contents in the Endless Archive, you will get a new currency called the Archival Fortunes. That's the currency you guys can use to buy from these two merchants. So the first merchant has the class set pieces and a few other things you guys can grab. Then let's hop on to the next merchant. This merchant sells a few other things. What caught my eye was actually the companion set. So they actually sell purple companion set, but it's a complete gamble because you only see the weight. You can get any type of piece with any trait. So it's a big gamble, but if you guys are lucky enough, you might end up with something worth 2 or 3 millions in the market. So that's an interesting one there in this merchant. Okay guys, enough of the Index Center. Let's proceed with the next one. The next important thing to share is for the PC players. If you guys keep on noticing in the background, when I pick up a buff item, it kept on flying to my mini map. And 1 hour in my first playthrough, I was like, what's going on? Why is this buffs keep on running towards my mini map? So I decided to go into my add-on, and I'm using AUI mini map to disable it and see if there's anything behind it. And yes, there is. So we're gonna get a new base game UI, and this UI is important because it's gonna show exactly what stage, what cycle, what arc you guys are in. And on top of that, if you guys press F5 on a PC, you will see all your permanent buff and stage buff you have. We'll talk more about it in a while, but let's focus on this UI. So for you guys on the PC, what you need to do is go to your, if you have a mini map or anything else covering it up, you'll have to go to your settings and move it down so that this UI is visible when you're in the Endless Archive. I tried going, because there are some add-ons for AUI and also bandits, where what you can do is you can go to the base game UI and move it around. I tried it, but the add-on did not recognize this UI section. I think it probably will be updated in the future, but for now this is non-movable. So you'll need to move your add-on so you can see it, and then your life is much better knowing where you are in the Endless Archive. Okay guys, the next thing we want to talk about is what is stages, what is cycle, what is arc. So how it goes is when you guys step into the Endless Archive wing, what's gonna happen is you're gonna be in a stage. How you know you're in a stage is that you'll see a black cloudy gooey thing floating on the air with a visible circle around it. That means you're in a stage where you're gonna fight mobs. To trigger it, you need to go into that circle and the fight starts and the stage has begun. So what will happen is you'll need to complete 2 stages, then you'll end up in a cycle boss fight. So 2 stages, cycle boss fight comes out next. So the cycle boss fight will be on a levitating platform which is very bright, is circular, and that's where you're gonna have a cycle boss fight. Once you complete the cycle boss fight, 1 cycle has been completed and you're gonna go back and do the stages again. So 2 stage, 1 cycle boss fight, you have completed a cycle, then you go to the next cycle. That's how it works. So you'll be doing that again and again until you reach cycle 5, right? When you're at cycle 5, what's gonna happen is that after 2 stages, the final boss fight for that cycle will be the last boss. And you'll know it's the last boss because what's gonna happen is you're not gonna go to that bright circular platform, you're gonna go to a very dark area and the boss is gonna appear there and you'll be fighting for your life not to die. So very easy to know that you're in a arc boss fight. So once you complete that final boss, you will get your class set piece, and then you have completed 1 arc, and then you will reset back to a stage fight so that you can build up 5 cycles, then do a final boss fight again for another arc completion. So this is the phases we're gonna go again and again and again. So what I've noticed is every arc you guys complete, the difficulty is gonna go up. I think loot is also gonna drop better in terms of probability. For example, on the 3rd arc, when I killed the boss, the class set I got was already purple. So probably, you know, the first 2 arcs are equal, like a normal dungeon runs transitioning to veteran, and then the 3rd arc boss fight is already equal to a veteran dungeon boss fight. Alright, the next one is, let's talk about buffs. So one of the interesting with the Endless Archive is every time you complete a fight, whether it's a stage or a cycle, you're gonna get a gift, which is a buff, right? So there's 2 kinds of buff. One is worse and another one is vision. So let's talk about worse first. When you guys complete a stage, which is a mob fight, at the end of it you will see a floating book, and when you go and interact with the book, you will get a verse. Now this verse are just power-ups for your next fight. That's all. Once you complete the next fight, either it's a cycle or a stage, it's done. You're not gonna have it to the next fight, right? So it's just a temporary buff. You guys need to select what is practical for your build. So that's worse. When you guys complete cycle and also the arc, you will then see a floating green eye which pops up rather than a book, and when you interact with it you will get visions. Now visions are buff which will last through your whole endless arc fight until you reset the whole instance. Remember that hourglass, when you reset it completely, you lose all your vision as well. So until you do that reset, whatever buff you're gonna get from the visions will stay. So visions, from what I've seen, there's two types of vision. So there are visions which stacks up. For example, it gives you certain percentage for your health, and when you keep on getting the same type, it will keep on stacking up on top of your health. That's great. Another type of vision which I notice as you guys go up the arc is that visions which are set type of vision. So they have like 3 pieces, and if you guys collect all the 3 pieces of the vision, you'll get a super buff associated to it. So initial days, just mess around with the verses and the visions to try it out and see what works better for your build, and then just have fun. But these are what visions and verses are, and where you guys can check this out is by pressing F5. If you're on PC, it will show you all the visions stacked up which you have for this instance, and then the verse that you have for the next fight. Alright, for the next one, let's talk about death. Now, if you die in an endless archive, what happens is you lose 1 life. So by default, you are given 3 life in a particular endless archive run. So we are back to our Mario Brothers days where we used to have 3 lives, and if you lose that life, your entire endless archive will reset to 0 and you'll have to start all over again. So don't die too much. Now, to mitigate that, there are interesting verses and visions which can help. For example, this verse, if you guys can find it, it's rare, but I did find it once, will make sure if you die on the next fight, you don't die, but you become immune, and at least you can recover. That's a nice verse to have. So if you find it, grab it. And another amazing thing is there is one vision which I noticed which gives you +1 life. So if you have 3, if you pick up this vision for that particular run, you're gonna have 4 life. So that's amazing. So just keep an eye on those visions and verses. You don't want to have damage buffs. Only if you guys see these specific ones which will give you immunity to death, pick it up, because you only have 3 lives per run. Alright, so if you guys saw, I actually died on a mob. I didn't die with a boss. Check out this mob, guys. If you guys find this pyromancer, immediately take that mob down, because the mob has the same attack which world boss Ziomara in Necrom does, which is a channel attack, but it's a channel fire attack. Took a matter of seconds before I died. What I realized as well is that it's not only this pyromancer, there's a few other caster type elite mobs similar to the pyromancer which has lightning attack, some are poison attack and so forth. So when you guys are running through the mobs, just keep an eye for these guys, go to them fast and take them out so they don't catch you off guard. Alright, so the next tips or area to look at is that every time you guys finish a stage or a cycle, you will notice there will be a merchant, a small merchant which will pop up, and you can buy buffs and so forth from him. But that's not the only purpose. He can also repair your gear. So every time or after a few stages, please do repair your armor. Okay guys, at some point when you guys complete stages, you will see that rather than the normal circular portal, you will suddenly get a broken mirror type of portal. That's random, and what that gives you is like an additional optional content. Most of the time when I went inside, it was puzzles, and if you complete those, you will add additional loot drops and so forth. Try it out. It's like an additional side fun you can have while you're running through the endless archive. And remember guys, there is no difficulty setting for the Endless Archive. So when you guys enter either with a group or alone or with your companion, the difficulty setting when you start in Arc 1 is the same for everyone, right? And it gradually gets more difficult. So how far you can progress is the differentiator between running in a group or with a companion or just single player. So I will be dropping a few more videos on the Endless Archive in terms of class, what type of companion, some walkthrough on the class sets as well. That's something coming up. So that's about it guys. It's a little bit lengthy because I wanted to talk about these 10 different areas. Hope it helps. Please like the video and then subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't subscribed yet. I will catch you guys on the next run. I'm Casual. GG's guys.